Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. I've got a couple of autographed albums here. They're real special to me.
Fleetwood Mac and Elton John, huh?
Yes, sir. I was in the radio business for around 25 years, and the artists were gracious enough to sign them for me.
Oh, you're in radio, huh?
Yeah.
You definitely got a voice for it.
Thank you. I'm looking to sell my autographed Fleetwood Mac Rumors album and my autographed Elton John Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. The albums are in pretty good shape. The vinyl's perfect. There's no scratches. They probably haven't been played in 20 years. I'd like to get $200 for each album. If we're able to make a sale today, I will definitely be donating 100% of the proceeds to the charities that the artists represent. I don't want to profit personally from their generosity.
This is pretty cool. Both autographed and signed to John. I'm assuming you're John?
I'm John, yes.
Okay, all right. So they're all to John. So who all signed the Fleetwood Mac? We got Stevie Nicks for sure, Mick Fleetwood, and
Christine McVie.
But you missed out on Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, yep.
I guess you can't win them all. This by far is like their most successful album. God, it was like a #1 album for 31 weeks or something like that. I mean, it has to be up there. I know it got a Grammy for Best Album. You know, they were a little tongue-in-cheek with the name, Rumors. I mean, there was all kinds of rumors going on about what was going on inside the band. I know there was an affair somewhere inside of the band, something like that, so they called the album Rumors. It'd be hard to find anybody that doesn't like Fleetwood Mac on some level. And then you got, you know, Sir Elton John here. This is obviously before he was knighted, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, the guy's just always been a phenomenal performer. He's always done really, really well. He was famous before this one came out, Yellow Brick Road, but this one kind of catapulted him, selling 30 million copies. And, you know, he's still going today. I mean, it's pretty impressive when you really think about it. So, I mean, you came in here because you're looking to sell them, right?
Right.
So, what are you looking to get for them?
I was thinking 200 each would be a fair price. I'm no expert. I don't know what autographs go for, but I just picked that number.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. You seem like a pretty trustworthy guy, but do you mind if I have the signatures checked out?
I think that'd be great.
Okay, let me just take a picture and send them over to my guy. He's out of town right now. All right, hang out. I'll give him a call real quick, okay?
Yes, sir. Well, I know 100% that they're authentic, but it's always good to get input and have an expert take a look.
Did you get those pictures I sent you?
I did, yeah. I had a chance to go over those 2 albums, and pretty interesting, to be honest with you.
Have you looked at all the autographs? All the autographs are legit?
Yeah, no problem.
So what can you tell me about the Fleetwood Mac album?
That one is really kind of intriguing. If you take a look at that album, Corey, down in the bottom right quarter, Rick Vito signed it. Rick replaced Lindsey Buckingham. To make that Fleetwood Mac album even worth more money, it would need Lindsey Buckingham, and unfortunately his signature's not on there. But you got Stevie Nicks, John McVie, Christine McVie, Mick Fleetwood. So I think it's a pretty neat piece, Corey. Anytime you have Fleetwood Mac with Stevie Nicks on it, it's pretty significant.
Okay, and what do you think about the Elton John Yellow Brick Road?
Huge autograph on that. I definitely put it sometime signed in probably like the late 80s, early 90s. I find him to be kind of a more reclusive signer now the last few years. So in terms of collectability for him, it's like solid gold. That is a great piece to have signed by him.
Okay, so what do you think they're worth a piece?
On the value, the Elton John is worth about $500. The Fleetwood Mac, you know, it's got a lot going on it. It's a very nice piece, but I'd still put that value right at about $800. If you had Lindsey on there, I think it would add a lot more value.
All right, my man. Well, I appreciate it. See you soon. All right, so I got some good news for you. So in case you didn't hear, the retail on the Fleetwood Mac is $800. Retail on Elton John's $500. So I think we're doing a little better than you thought. But I kind of have a hunch that there could even be more value here. Autographs are one thing, but they are albums, and the albums are collectible themselves.
Right.
So I got my guy Warwick in town. Do you mind if I have him take a look at them too?
Great. As much as we can learn, the better.
All right, hang out. I'll be back in a few.
Great news from the autograph expert. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rock and roll memorabilia fella has to say.
So you have an album for me to look at?
Yes, sir. 2 of my favorite albums.
Oh,
For Elton John and Fleetwood Mac.
we're in the 70s.
I already shot some pictures over to Steve. The signature's legit. I just don't know what the albums could be worth.
Okay. This is probably 2 of the biggest selling albums of all time. Probably both of them in the 10 times platinum status.
And mind you, I grew up in the 90s. So tell me a little bit about Fleetwood Mac.
English band, and the name was originally Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. They dropped Peter Green's name when he'd left the band. They were just another band from England until they moved out to California and hooked up with Buckingham and Nicks. And 2 albums, Fleetwood Mac and Fleetwood Mac Rumors, just exploded. They were the biggest thing in '76 and '77.
Okay. Sir Elton John over here, 300 million albums sold in his career.
Elton, he started in like 1970 or so. He was a star almost immediately, and then all through the '70s. This is a very, very common album. If somebody's going backstage to get an autograph from Elton John, they take this album. So this was the heyday of FM radio. The first track on that, Funeral for a Friend, 11 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I think it's an opportunity for the DJ to go and have a smoke.
For sure. So what do you think they're worth?
These look like original copies, been around the block. They're not exactly mint. The Elton John one, this doesn't go for a lot because there's a lot of them. Top price on that maybe $400.
Okay.
This one, I think this is a lot more interesting because I like the signatures. They're real big and bold. It's a good display piece. You could get 1,000 out of that one.
I think that sounds great. That's a lot more than I expected, to be honest.
Good.
Warwick, I always appreciate you helping me out.
All right, thanks a lot. I'll go back to work.
Well, that was interesting.
So worth a little bit more than you thought, huh?
Yeah, that was very informative.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. So you came in looking for 200 bucks a piece. The other worth a little bit more than that. Tell you what, I'll give you 1,000 bucks for the pair.
I think that's a very fair offer, and I sincerely appreciate that.
All right, come with me. Let's do some paperwork.
All right. $1,000, that's music to my ears. $1,000 going to a great cause.